Hi everyone, Victoria Groom here, the Flow Coach. Wow, so life just got really interesting, didn't it? Really interesting, confronting, painful, joyful, confusing, all the gamut of emotions, anger, disconnection, dysfunction, confusion about the unknown, and joy in the connection and the community that seems to have been compelled into being. And really, that's what I want to talk about today, amongst other things, is this concept of being together alone. Now, as a single mother living in a household with a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old, you'd think that it would be quite daunting to face the potential reality of being on my own with my 2 kids in the house and the dog, just the 3/4 of us. And yes, it is. Of course it is. I'm human, and there will be difficult times if this happens, and we will be navigating some interesting waters. But in a way, that's part of it. Some of me feels like I've been trained for this all my life. Never more than in the last, how long is it now? 3 years, nearly 2.5 years since the father of my children left. They were 1 and 3. I have been reborn, and not in a good way. The rebirth was messy, and I had to start again. I've been regrowing myself as a human. I've been bringing myself up at the same time as bringing my children up, and it's an ongoing process. Of course it is. We're always growing and learning and evolving. But some of the things that have happened to me in the last few years have been having to live with a lot less than I used to. Having to stay anchored and grounded in the face of abuse and attack from the person that I had decided was going to be my one support. And that's the key, and I might come to that later, is that I had sought support in one area, and it wasn't inside me, it was outside. So one of the sort of trainings, if you like, that we have in this modern world, this contemporary world, especially in the West, is being brought up in our conditioned way, and then learning to evolve ourselves out of that conditioning and relearn who we are from the inside out. So we kind of, in this particular generation anyway, we've kind of started to live life from the outside in. So we look outside ourselves. God is a man. He's outside ourselves. He's the father. He's the disciplinarian. He's the one that we need to please. And we're taught this amidst the general themes of life that are within the Bible of love and oneness. But it seems to have got lost within the patriarchal society of interpretation. So we're taught to go outside ourselves for everything that we need. And of course, what happens when you do that is that you go outside yourself for everything. You don't want to look within. Your instinct is not to go inside and to feel how you truly feel, to ask yourself what you truly think. There's an expert out there. There's a parent, there's a teacher, there's a peer. There is something out there that knows better than you. And of course, the other evolution of that is that when we feel things that we don't know how to deal with because we've never gone within to deal with them, we numb or avoid sex, drugs, alcohol, food, TV, shopping. And there are so many ways we do it, and so many of them are very subtle. Mine are TV and chocolate, and I'm working on those. And I know it sounds not harmful at all, but when you are living your life on hold, when you are more interested in a drama unfolding on the screen than the drama of your own life, it does become a problem. Now, there is a kind of deeper spiritual truth in that everything that happens is learning you and evolving you. And I know that I have been drawn to particular TV dramas, art mirroring life, that have shown me some really good things about myself inside, some really useful stuff. So, because we're all in this matrix of life, we're all woven together, nothing is separate. So, of course, if we can be conscious in our consumption of TV, in our consumption of alcohol, even, then potentially that is part of the richness of life. It's part of the fabric of who we are as an individual and as a collective. So simply to say that if we drink in moderation, we are opening ourselves up to other areas of ourselves. And I could talk about plant medicine and other forms that, if done healthily in a ceremonial way. I'm ceremonial with my red wine now. I drink it in slowly and I appreciate it. It's not what I used to do in my 20s, which was drink, so that I didn't know who I was, so I didn't know who I was in bed with, and I could just live my life in that surface way of getting that instant gratification of whatever it was: money, friendships, sex, relationships. That was the unhealthy way that I evolved in my 20s, having come from a cultural background where I was taught to look outside me, where I was taught to be a good girl, where I was taught to conform to the norms of society. And I did that. I didn't go into the rebel phase. A lot of people go into the rebel phase. I didn't. So let me just connect into where I've got up to. So in raising my children, I am now raising myself. I had my first child at the age of 41. So I'd gone through a lot of life living in this way. And certain insights had come along. I'd gone down the healing path. I'd become a Reiki master. I'd trained to be a coach. So all these things were knitting together this kind of, web that I can see. I can see how it evolved. And becoming more conscious of my life right now, and slowing down is one of the ways you can do that. I can see how it all works together. But in evolving into new ways of being, you have to let go of the old ways of being. And part of the process of doing that is looking at the old, unpleasant, painful places within yourself. And I've been through a process of that in the last 2 years, only 2 years, 3 years maybe, which isn't very long in a lifetime of mine. I'm 47 now. But really, time isn't the point. Some people spend a lifetime working on the work. Other people have been doing it behind the scenes and it comes through to fruition more quickly. I'm still a work in progress, as we all are. And the training that has been forced upon me, not by choice, of looking at the dark parts of me. What was it about me that attracted such a toxic relationship? What was it about my beliefs? What was it about my experience of life, individually and collectively? What was it about my behavior? What was it that I can now take responsibility for? And I hope that by now you can see where this thread is leading, because we are now in this collective space of taking stock. This isn't just a random event that's just happened to by accident that we just have to deal with. It's a bit annoying, and once we've controlled it, it'll be out of our sphere. We are in a global crisis. We are in a place where, whether by human device, if you believe that this is a man-made virus, or by natural devices, it's all the same thing anyway. We are being asked to come together to deal with something that affects the whole of humanity. And isn't it interesting that at times like this, we can cancel flights when it's our immediate survival that's at risk? We can take measures that are going to be difficult, that risk the food coming into our bellies, that risk people's livelihoods. But when we look at how we are treating Mother Earth and at what's going to be affected what's going to affect future generations, government can't act. We're frozen in looking at where we at and what we need right now. And of course, the global belief is that we need capitalism, we need more money, we need consumption. Well, I would like to say that we don't need that. We don't need that. On an individual and collective level, we need collaboration, community. This, for me, marks the end of separation and the bringing back of the one whole. And however you want to view that, we're all going to have different ways of seeing that. But in our houses, when we are isolating, my mother's already taken herself into self-isolation because she's 75. There will be a period of time where potentially we can be introspective. And that is what collectively we have tried to avoid now for decades. Can we take this opportunity to go within, to see what darkness lies in there? And when I say the word darkness, I really want you to remember this if you do decide to take that space, to breathe and go in, switch the TV off, even put the book down and go within. Darkness is the infinite creative space, the darkness of the mother's womb. Got my Mummy Shark t-shirt on today. The darkness of the womb, the darkness of the earth, darkness, the unseen, the unknown. Everything that manifests into our physical reality was once unknown. That's the creative space. The darkness is the creative space. It's our friend. It's our feminine energy of creation. So when we're going in and things are dark and we're bringing up feelings, memories that are extremely difficult to handle. First of all, if you feel you're going there, don't do it alone. Seek the right support. And if you want to ask me what that might be, I can give you some names, lists, books, people. You are asked and are called now to take responsibility for your own evolution. I am called now to take responsibility for my evolution, because my evolution and your evolution is the collective evolution. By looking at what is painful and we haven't wanted to deal with, which has been subconsciously informing our behavior, our beliefs, our self-expression or lack thereof, by bringing that out, we alchemize it automatically. We shed light on it. It becomes light in weight, in density, and in the sense of the sun, the light, the warmth. We are able to transmute. We are infinitely powerful. God is not outside us. God is God and Goddess within. And until we recognize this feminine principle of the darkness and creation, we are going to continue to be shown things collectively that are going to pull out our trauma and bring it to the light. We can do this together alone. We can do this together. We have had floods. We have had fires. We have now got a worldwide infection. We can continue to remain separate from each other and get what we think we need in our lives and not look for the connectedness of life and life's events. We can continue like that if we like, but we will destroy ourselves. We will destroy the environment of the earth for our human population. The earth will survive. She will continue. She will create anew. And who knows what life would continue on earth, but the human race won't survive. Now, maybe I think it's quite good that I laughed there at something that's actually extremely serious on the face of it, because the lightness of life, the levity of energy is what allows spaciousness and allows the wisdom to come up. If we are scared and contracted and fearful and pulling ourselves inward, we are not breathing. So the heart, lungs, and breath, we're being being shown that we need to look at this part of ourselves to expand. We expand and contract with every breath. But how it appears to me now is that we're trying to control, we're constantly trying to keep our bodies in the out breath. Well, if you continue to breathe out and don't breathe in, we die. And if we do die, as a species, new life will come in. And I think where we can replace a death of a species is by allowing the old who we were to die. And that has to happen on an individual level. I know that I am not the woman in any shape or form that I used to be 2 or 3 years ago. And potentially I won't be in the next 2 to 3 years. I don't know. We all will change at different rates. But when we are alone in our homes, I really want you to remember this. I really feel this is important. It's okay to feel everything that you're feeling. Please, let's not overeat, overconsume, whether that's TV, drugs, sex, alcohol, whatever. Consume all those things and enjoy them and appreciate them and have gratitude. And this, as I said earlier, is some of the training that I've been given unwittingly over the last couple of years is appreciating everything we have, being mindful of everything I purchase and consume, and looking at the collective space within which I can then tell what I really need and what my children need. We are all in this together. And if the pain is too big for you on your own, if you perhaps you're self-isolating, seek help. There is always the phone. There's always someone to speak to. And I'm going to say something that might feel a bit confronting, and it is to me to say it. Those nihilistic feelings that we can have, feelings that lead to the tragedies such as Caroline Flack, for example, potentially those nihilistic feelings are something dying inside of us. And our fearful reaction of wanting to expunge the very life of our bodies is what we, if we just keep breathing, can divert our mind away from. I've had suicidal thoughts in my life. I went through my 20s and 30s. And I think I've actually even recently had those nihilistic thoughts of knowing that not existing would be easier. So it's a common thing, but allowing the death just as we allow winter. Do we try and stop nature from having the cycles of the seasons? Of course we don't. And it's just nonsensical to even say that, isn't it? But that's what we're doing within ourselves. By denying ourselves the death, we then deny ourselves refreshment, new life, rebirth. So can we breathe in and out, nurture our bodies, nurture the connection between ourselves, look after the animals, look after the trees, look after the flowers, the plants, nurture, bring back the mother in man and woman, and bring back that feminine energy of creation that has been held back by a fearful patriarchal system for so long now, so long that in my world, the feminine rising is a big movement. There are women who are coming together, who are recognizing the wounds from their mothers and fathers, the wounds from the system, the patriarchal system, the father, the wounds from the sisterhood, women who have been brought up in competition with each other. We compete for a marriage. We compete with each other, got to be thinner, got to have fewer wrinkles, this, that, the other, all about the fear response to the conditioning, the wounding of a system that is redundant, So if you're a woman, or a man even, or transgender, just put your hands on your belly right now. And breathe into the womb center of your body. We all have it. It's dark. It's creative. And take the space and time I'm a single mother. Time feels like a precious commodity to me, but I know that it's possible to do this, to find the space and time, even 2 minutes of moving into the darkness in your body and seeing what comes up to the light to be shown to you. Women leaders in the world, Finland, New Zealand are the ones that come to mind. They don't have to be women, but of course they're going to be as we bridge from our patriarchal reality to the new reality of divine balance. It's going to have to be the women that take us over that bridge, because they're the ones with the feminine traits of the yin. This is the return of the yin, the return of the feminine energy, the wild, untaming ourselves, untaming our daughters, and teaching our sons to yield to the feminine energy and to powerfully protect that, because that's how we protect our race and lovingly nurture it into our next stage of evolution. So women at home who are head of the household, we can be leaders in our own lives, conscious leaders, consciously creating with our men, with our children, with our parents, to be in this new space. And sometimes being in that new space is really shaky, it's really uncertain, it's the ground beneath us is crumbling. The reality that we once knew is shaky. And of course, right now we're in between two paradigms. That's why it's so hard. Certainly for me, I've got one foot in each. Our children will probably be firmly planted in the new, and some of our people right now are firmly in the old. So there's a chaos around. But remember the butterfly in the cocoon and the mulchy mess within that and the chaos within that, and out comes the butterfly. So potentially we're in that mess, in that chaos, but it's part of creation. So can we be in an accepting, loving space around this new creation? The 7 facets of flow, which evolved in one, half an hour while I was supposed to be doing something else and just flowed through me onto a piece of paper, now seem more relevant than ever. Number 1, the unknown. Number 2, being unclear. So this is the individual confusion. Facet 3 is acceptance. Facet 4 is trust. Facet 5 is surrender. Facet 6 is connection, conscious connection. And facet 7 is love. So just having those 7 facets kind of floating around in your consciousness can really help us to navigate. And arguably, we are on a journey from the unknown to love through those 7 facets. And if that helps you, then use those. Okay. So it's with much love. Thank you for listening. And if you want to connect with me in any way, private message, comment, especially if you need to ask for help, please do. If I'm not the person to help you, I will direct you to other sources who can. We are all in this together, and we can hold the space for everybody. We don't need to hoard or fight or run away. We can hold our own space, because that is holding the collective space. So with love in my heart and breath in my lungs and grace in my whole consciousness for every single being on this planet right now, as we're shown how much we are connected, I will say the Ho'oponopono prayer of healing. And if you're in ever any doubt, or hesitation, this is a lovely one to remember. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.